It's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
It's time for another movie review. Hello ladies and gentlemen and movie lovers of all kind, and welcome back to another new release review. And for today, I will be covering First Man. So First Man was directed by Damien Chazelle, stars Ryan Gosling, Claire Foy, and Jason Clarke. So First Man follows the life of astronaut Neil Armstrong as he goes through trial and error to becoming the first man on the moon. So I was really excited for this movie. It was one of my most anticipated movies for the second half of the year. I was so excited. I love Damien Chazelle, and I'm happy to say that this movie was a big success for him. With that being said, let's hop right into the review. To kick off the positives is Ryan Gosling and Claire Foy's performance. Now, everyone else in the cast did a fine job. Everyone did great. There was no sore thumbs, but these two especially did a fantastic job. Ryan Gosling, man, wow, he went all out on this one. From what I know about Neil Armstrong, from interviews and readings and things like that, he embodied him so damn well. Just his mannerisms, the way he talks, the way he carries himself, the way he shows his emotion. He did such an incredible job, and I am really, really impressed. I'm going to call it again. I'm saying an Oscar nom for him too, for Best Leading Actor. As well as Claire Foy, I'm going to get right into it now. I'm going to say Best Supporting Actress, because she did a phenomenal job. There's so many times in this movie where she absolutely steals the scene, even from Gosling at times. She was just such a driven and determined woman in this. She feared for her husband, she loved him, she was such a great mother, a wife, a friend. She was amazing in this movie. Next is the incredible sound design and the astounding visuals in this movie. My God, did this feel so realistic. That's what helps this movie the most, because there are times where there's a lot of really shaky cam because it makes you feel like you're actually there, where it's really dark because they're out in space, they don't have lights and whatnot. So the sound design, you have to rely on that a lot. You hear metal twisting, crunching, beeping, clicking, turning, clacking of dials, the shaking, the vibrations of the rocket ships. Everything from the sound design, top to bottom, was nailed. And the visuals, of course, as well. It doesn't seem like there's actually that many visual effects. I could be wrong, but it just seemed like they did a lot of it really practically. Obviously, of course, not the real rocket launches or anything like that, but just them being in there in the, I guess it's is it a cockpit? A space cockpit? I'll call it the cockpit for now. Everything in there to the overall aesthetic, because it's set in the 60s. Everything visually, and when they actually do get to the moon landing, wow, my jaw dropped. When they just do that first reveal of them being on the moon, it made me feel a way that no other movie this year has made me feel in a singular moment. Next is the fact that this movie is so extremely realistic. Now, not just in the spaceflight stuff, but it is so realistic in the fact that it's not just like a quick movie like, hey, we're gonna hop in a rocket ship and go to the moon. Like, it's really trial and error. People died. There's so many calculations, you hear so many numbers, it's engineering, it's math, it's science, it's this, it's that, it's turning dials, it's so much talk that you have no idea what's going on. But especially when you were in the rocket ship, like I said, you were in that cockpit the entire time. There's not many, like, shots of them flying around in space and stuff like that. You were always, always with these astronauts. And it got to the point that sometimes that I felt really tight-chested, my hands got clammy, because I'm someone who is, like, claustrophobic, and I hate planes, I hate flying. So this actually had me like, oh my God, like, it made me feel a certain way, but it was in such a good way, because I was like, if this movie can do this to me, just sitting in a movie theater, then it's doing exactly what it's supposed to do. It's putting you, the audience, in the driver's seat, and that's something that I just can't let go unnoticed. It is so well done. Something I was really surprised at too is the fact that this movie keeps you so engrossed, despite it being a true story. Like, I already know the ending. I know what happened. Neil Armstrong got to the moon and got back home. Spoiler alert. That stuff actually happened. And here's the thing, even though I know the ending, I knew what was gonna happen, it was one of the most intense experiences that I've had at the movie theater in a very, very long time, and one of the stories that kept me captivated beginning to end, despite me knowing the ending. I was so impressed with that, because I honestly thought going into this movie with some of the audience scores being kind of lukewarm, critics are loving it, audience before I went in, it was at like a 6.4 on IMDb or in a 69 on Rotten Tomatoes, so I was like, maybe it's going to be kind of Dunkirky. Like, it's going to be a technical marvel, but maybe the story is lacking, but not at all. It is a technical marvel with a fantastic and captivating story, and I was in it to win it beginning to end. So I was really impressed with that aspect as well, because I already knew the ending, but they managed to hold my attention the entire time. Next, the fact this is a very, very character-driven story. It shows the relationships, the triumphs, the anger, the heartbreak, everything beginning to end is embodied through this cast so perfectly. It is a character study first and foremost, and something else I loved about this is just the fact that some of the best moments in the movie are when the astronauts and their families get together and just have barbecues in the backyard. Because at the beginning of the movie, Neil Armstrong, Ryan Gosling, is just very stoic. He doesn't say a whole lot. He's just a very, very stern man. And it was so nice that as the movie progressed, to see him cry, to see him laugh, to see him have fun. Some of the best moments in the movie come from that, and the relationships with the characters, how they celebrate together, how they cry together, how they fight each other. Everything about it was great, as well as something that I loved about this movie is the fact that plenty of astronauts actually died. And I love that this movie recognized their sacrifices. It showed these people, because a lot of the times, I had no idea who these people were. I never heard of them. I only know Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin. Those are the two that get the spotlight all the time. So I love that this movie focused on and spent a lot of time with the characters of the men who died, sacrificed themselves for the betterment, because without their sacrifice, there's no way that they would know that, hey, that's an error, we need to fix it before we send people off to the moon. So I was so happy to find out that it really did focus on these astronauts who sacrificed their lives and their families lost them in reality. So I love that this movie put them in the spotlight. Next is the score to this movie, because it is out of this world. And it captures the essence of the movie magnificently. It was something that I was so impressed with. I knew this was going to happen. Damien Chazelle has a music background. Whiplash and La La Land are both super music heavy. It is something that works harmoniously with the movie. Every scene feels like that score was just so perfectly paired. Just they knew exactly what you wanted to hear to make you feel this movie so much more. Now for the middle ground, because it ends up in the middle ground for me, and that is the slow pace of this movie. Ends up in the middle ground because it's not a negative to me, because I enjoyed it. I enjoyed seeing everything that actually went in, all the trial, all the error, every little bit of conversation and calculation that went into the reaching of the moon. I love that, because I'm someone who's always been interested in space, so to see this, to me, was awesome. I didn't find the movie slow at all. I enjoyed it beginning to end. But for the negatives, and it's similar negatives to what I had with Bad Times at the El Royale, like I said, I enjoyed the slower pace, but I feel like there was a couple of moments where they let the silence linger a little too long, and I wouldn't even say cut like 5-10 minutes or anything like that. I wouldn't cut anything out of it, really. Just maybe sometimes talk a little bit more, or do a little bit more of this or that, just to keep the pace going just like the tiniest touch more, that's all. As well as I feel like the movie could have wrapped slightly quicker, so I guess maybe shave a couple minutes off of it, because there were so many moments when they were actually on the moon that I was like, this is the perfect epic way to end the movie. Perfect epic way to end the movie. Should have ended the movie right here, should have ended the movie right there. And I feel like they were missing kind of a few important parts. There's one point when something goes wrong in outer space, and then all of a sudden it just cuts to like a month later and they're back on Earth, when they're saying, like, I have no idea how we're getting back home. It's like, well, I kind of wanted to see how you got back home. But yeah, the ending of the movie was fine. I just feel, like I said, it could have kind of wrapped up quicker, because that ending wasn't really necessary. It didn't really add anything to the movie for me besides time, so I feel like they would have cut back that extra 5 minutes to just where they were on the moon, ended it there. I think I would have been perfectly happy with that, as well as there were a few moments in the movie that I actually wanted to see that I don't know why were cut. They could have taken out that 5 minutes, placed it there to the moment, specifically that moment that I actually really wanted to see, and then I feel like it would have made the movie come full circle just that much better. So folks, those are my thoughts on First Man. I really enjoyed it, one of the better movies of the year, but it is a slower paced movie, so if you do not like slow movies, I wouldn't bother checking out, maybe wait till Netflix, a rental or something, and for all those reasons folks, I'm going to be giving First Man an 8.5 out of 10. So folks, if you like this video, be sure to like, subscribe, and comment, and let me know what were your thoughts on First Man. And be sure to follow me on social media. I'm on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Links will be in the description and at the end of the video. And be sure to check back every Friday for Fan Vote Friday on my Instagram page. We need your votes, so go and vote, please. And as always, thank you so much for watching. And that's a wrap. And for today, I will be covering Bad Times at the El Royale. So Bad Times at the